By 1940, Britain stood alone. Across the English Channel, Nazi Germany was master of Europe, but the true battle for survival wasn't in the skies over London. It was in the icy, unforgiving depths of the Atlantic. Britain, an island nation, depended entirely on convoys of merchant ships bringing food, fuel, and war materials from North America. Cut off this lifeline, and the war was over. Hitler's weapon of choice, the U-boat. Stealthy, deadly, and operating in wolf packs, these submarines were sinking ships at an unsustainable rate. The Atlantic had become a graveyard. In the early years, locating these U-boats was like searching for ghosts. They struck from the deep, vanished without a trace, and left behind only shattered hulls and drowning men. By 1941, the situation was dire. Merchant tonnage was plummeting. Britain was weeks from starvation, months from running out of essential war supplies. The Royal Navy was stretched thin, hunting shadows across millions of square miles of ocean. How do you fight an enemy you can't see? The answer lay not in new warships, but in a new kind of warfare, the battle for information. Long before sophisticated computers, intelligence was gathered by hand, by ear, and by brilliant minds. While Bletchley Park famously worked on Enigma, another lesser-known intelligence effort was crucial: signals intelligence, or SIGINT. This wasn't about breaking codes in real time, but about listening. Across Britain, a network of secret listening stations, known collectively as the Y service, was picking up every stray German radio signal. These weren't Enigma messages. They were the routine chatter, navigation reports, weather updates, and even the simple hellos and goodbyes of German U-boats and naval forces. Every U-boat had a unique radio fingerprint, a slightly different tone, a specific operator's fist on the Morse key. They also often sent short, coded signals or even messages in the clear before entering an Enigma stream. Thousands of these fragments flowed into command centers. On their own, each whisper was meaningless, but someone had to connect the dots. This mountain of raw, fragmented data needed an architect. It needed someone with an almost supernatural ability to see patterns where others saw chaos. This is where individuals like Frank Birch came into play. A solitary figure, hunched over charts and logs in a quiet, smoke-filled room. Their tools, paper, pencil, a ruler, and an encyclopedic knowledge of U-boat tactics and radio habits. Each intercept was a puzzle piece. A faint signal might provide a bearing, a line from the Y station. Another signal from a different station would provide another line. Where they crossed, there was a potential U-boat location, but it was rarely that simple. This analyst wasn't just plotting positions, they were getting inside the German mind. Why would a U-boat send a weather report now? Why this frequency? Why this call sign? Every decision by a U-boat commander left a tiny breadcrumb in the radio waves. Slowly, painstakingly, a picture began to emerge. Not a perfectly clear image, but a shadowy outline of a U-boat moving in the vastness of the ocean. In early 1942, a new and particularly aggressive wolf pack was terrorizing the North Atlantic. Merchant convoys were suffering catastrophic losses. The Germans were confident, believing their Enigma codes were impenetrable and their movements unseen. Our analyst dedicated weeks to this single wolf pack. Every intercept from every Y station related to these specific U-boats was funneled to their desk. They became obsessed with their movements, their patrol patterns, their communication habits. A short burst of static from the far west, followed by a faint weather report near Iceland, then a specific call sign detected closer to the coast. Each was a piece of the invisible enemy. Through sheer mental endurance, the analyst began to draw not just individual U-boats, but the ghostly shape of the entire wolf pack, their probable formation, their likely target, their estimated speed and direction. Then a moment of profound insight. A seemingly innocuous message, combined with a subtle change in radio frequency, revealed the wolf pack's true objective and their likely ambush point on an upcoming convoy route. This isn't just a story of intelligence. It's a story of intelligence enabling action. The analyst's painstaking work culminated in a series of urgent dispatches to Naval Command, outlining the predicted location and movement of the wolf pack. Imagine the challenge, convincing battle-hardened admirals to divert precious escort ships based on nothing more than whispers and pencil marks, especially when real-time Enigma decrypts weren't yet a daily reality for U-boat traffic. But the evidence was compelling, the analyst's track record undeniable. A crucial convoy carrying vital supplies was rerouted. A small task force of destroyers and corvettes was dispatched to the predicted ambush point. These escort ships knew roughly where to go, but finding the U-boats still took immense skill and courage. Depth charges were ready, sonar operators strained their ears, and lookouts scanned the waves. Then the ping of sonar, the glimpse of a periscope, the dark shape beneath the waves. The hunters had become the hunted. For the first time, we step inside the U-boat, the hunter's domain, now becoming prey. Cramped, claustrophobic, the men are unaware their position has been compromised, their unseen advantage stripped away. The sudden thrum of propellers, the distant thud of depth charges. Confusion turns to terror. The commander barks orders, dive, evasive maneuvers, silent running. But it's too late. This wasn't a clean fight. It was a brutal, terrifying duel of cat and mouse in the dark. The constant ping of sonar, the horrifying sound of explosions growing closer, the groans of the stressed hull. On both sides, men fought for their lives. The destroyer crews knew if they missed, the convoy and its vital cargo might be lost. The U-boat crew knew every hit could be their last. After hours of relentless attack, a telltale sign, a massive oil slick debris, and finally the slow, agonizing descent of the U-boat into the abyss. The wolf pack had been broken. The successful interception and destruction of that wolf pack had an immediate and profound effect. Not only were crucial supplies saved, but the morale of the convoy sailors soared. For the first time, they felt they weren't entirely alone. This wasn't a one-off. The methods perfected by our analyst, combining Y-service intercepts with astute deduction, began to be scaled up. While Enigma would eventually provide the larger picture, these early painstaking efforts were buying precious time. The Germans were baffled. Their U-boats were being intercepted in areas they believed were secure. They suspected radar, they suspected defectors, but they never suspected that their own routine radio chatter was betraying their most secret operations. Every U-boat sunk or deterred meant more ships reached port, more food on British tables, more tanks and planes to fight the enemy. This wasn't just intelligence, it was victory. The Battle of the Atlantic would rage for years, but the ingenuity demonstrated in these early days proved that even the most formidable technological threats could be countered by human intellect and relentless effort. The men and women of the Y service, the analysts and the cryptographers, worked in absolute secrecy. Their successes, however critical, could never be celebrated publicly. To reveal their methods would be to lose the advantage. Imagine the pressure, the fate of the war, the lives of thousands of sailors, resting on your ability to find a ghost in the static. The mental and emotional toll must have been immense. Many of these unsung heroes returned to ordinary lives after the war, their contributions largely unknown for decades. Their stories remained classified, their brilliance shrouded in the necessary silence of national security. Their work laid the foundation for modern intelligence gathering. It demonstrated the enduring truth that even in an age of advanced technology, human ingenuity, pattern recognition, and sheer dedication can be the most powerful weapons. While we celebrate the brave men who fought on the seas, we must also remember those who fought an equally vital battle in quiet rooms, armed only with paper, pencil, and a profound understanding of the enemy. The Battle of the Atlantic was a race against time. Hitler's U-boats were designed to starve Britain into submission, to isolate it, and to prevent any Allied counter-invasion. It was the unsung work of intelligence analysts, like our ghost hunter, piecing together fragments of radio chatter that provided the crucial early warnings. They didn't just break codes, they broke the U-boat's anonymity. From a few whispers in the air, they constructed an image of the unseen enemy, allowing the Royal Navy to strike back and protect the convoys that were Britain's very lifeblood. The brilliance wasn't just in the decryption of Enigma, but in the painstaking, almost artistic deduction that preceded and complemented it. The courage wasn't just in firing depth charges, but in trusting the unseen hand of intelligence. The ghost in the Atlantic was never fully caught by the Germans, because the true ghost wasn't a U-boat. It was the whisper of its presence, deciphered by a dedicated few, saving the world one convoy at a time.